David Reinhardt from Geek Inside Media, and who am I here with?
I'm Ryan Baker, the vision director of Pixelscopic, making Delver's Drop. So.
Now, I've heard nothing but great things about Delver's Drop. It's one of those games, you know, it's just been talked about a lot recently. So I'm glad I finally got some hands-on with it, and the art is incredible. It really is. So how did you come up with this very unique style?
Well, we went through a lot of iterations. Originally, the game was actually going to be this kind of arcadey, cute, tilt-based, like basically you just slide around and bump into things. So I just made these bobble-headed characters that, you know, could kind of fit in a circular collision box. And they were just sort of flat color. And then I started doing shading and kind of resurrected a style that I had been working on for this other RPG idea that we had been kind of messing around with the previous year, which was much more like flat colors, kind of glowing edges and things like that. And I think it became a little more like it sort of tightened down into what we have now. And I realized it would be simultaneously like efficient to paint, but also kind of follows some of my like oil painting background to do these planes of color, and also it like pops a lot on the mobile screens because we're actually going to release on mobile devices. So having these like flat color areas using few colors, kind of sharp edges, just really makes them seem vibrant. And then we also in the process realized that these having kind of solid blocks of color makes it almost seem a bit more like pixel art. I mean, it's still HD, like I paint everything at like 4 times or more what we need to put on the screen, even in our highest res mode. So yeah, it's not actually drawn in pixels, but it kind of gives the vibe of like pixels with these solid color areas, you know, limited color numbers, and the kind of sharp angles that I use. So.
While art is original, all art is inspired by something. Where have you pulled your inspiration for the art for Delver's Drop?
Wow, probably a bunch of different places. I mean, there are definitely games that I'm kind of a fan of that, you know, may have influenced it. I don't know that there's one single touchstone, but so I guess just to kind of like throw out some games that I like look at and think, oh, like, you know, there are some things that they're doing that I think could that I could sort of add to improve our art would be the art from Bastion and now Transistor. Jin's really amazing with color, like much better than me, and I, you know, definitely want to kind of improve and sort of like add more color and life to our game. And then, you know, I look at a lot of pixel artists as well. So, you know, the guys from Tribute, you know, doing Mercenary Kings, and before that Wizorb, you know, like some very nice like high definition pixel art. And so, like, you know, and especially for animation even, you know, I look at a lot of people kind of in the pixel art community do just such good animation, and also like some of the WayForward games really great to look at too. And so yeah, like I mean, those are, I guess, some kind of contemporaries that, you know, that I look at to see like what are other people doing in the industry. But then, you know, beyond that, I was digging through some of our kind of earliest concept art, and actually I was looking at some Frank Frazetta, which you probably wouldn't believe, but like there was, I think one of the original ideas for having the kind of shadowed faces of the characters came from a Frazetta painting, oddly enough. So, you know, I have a traditional art background, so I kind of look at like all kinds of different stuff. So yeah, there's I can't say that it really like comes through in the game necessarily, but yeah, I was definitely looking at a lot of the sort of like 70s and 80s fantasy artwork.
You saying the game started as, you know, kind of just a little like bump into enemies to do stuff, and more of a cutesy art style. Now, how have you had to deal with the task of balancing your art style, which is cute, with the fact that, you know, you're going through, you're cutting up enemies, your bombs are exploding? How do you balance the cute with the violence to make sure one doesn't overpower the other? It's not, you know, it's so cute, but there's these horrible things happening, or it's just all blood and gore everywhere and everyone's freaking out.
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely decided pretty early on we wanted some dark humor, and I think that's
my favorite kind.
Yeah, ours too. So yeah, I mean, it's also kind of an interplay of like our personalities in the studio, because I think we each have like certain types of humor that we like, but also kind of like a you know, we like some pretty dark games. I mean, we've been fans of Binding of Isaac, for instance, but you know, we decided early on we wanted a very kind of like PG-13 experience, and because I mean, like, I have younger cousins who I would want to be able to play this game and their parents not have concerns about that, but at the same time we want enough like humor and kind of enough darkness that it's like it is kind of interesting and thought-provoking in some ways for more mature gamers, obviously. So yeah, as far as like how the art and the humor and the story all kind of interact, you know, I think the dialogue will probably convey a bit more of the dark humor, but yeah, we do have some kind of like a bit of a spooky atmosphere, and that's going to change from environment to environment. But you know, I guess another actual kind of art inspiration is Edward Gorey, who he does a lot of like very kind of cartoony looking characters that in this sort of dark, twisted, spooky yet also quirky and humorous world. And so I think like if there were one, you know, we might not be quite as dark as some of his stuff, but I think that's kind of a target that we would be shooting for. And so you know, really in some ways we're still trying to figure out how all of that plays together, because we're still working on the story and really haven't written much dialogue at all so far. So it'll be an evolving process, I guess is what I'm saying.
So it's still early on, but you guys have, you know, release window and target platforms?
Yeah. So we're planning on releasing in October for desktops, PC, Mac, and Linux, and then early next year, around February of 2014, will be the mobile window. So that'll be iOS, Android, and Ouya. And we've had a lot of requests for other systems, and we're kind of looking into that, but don't have anything to announce right now. So
you got to get that money from that initial release first.
Yeah, I mean, like well, and we only have one programmer, so and it's a custom engine, so like we have to individually do every single port ourselves. So yeah, a lot of steps to go through before we'd be able to release on another platform.
Well, it's definitely shaping out to be an awesome game. So thank you so much for talking with us.
Yeah, well, thank you.